We're back. I got some art in, some original art from Thomas Bunk. Cannot wait. Now, this envelope did not come from Thomas Bunk himself. It's from a third party or whatever. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit about Mad Magazine. It's not Garbage Pail Kids, so if you want to bail, go right ahead before we get started. Now, most of us began with Mad Magazine and Cracked. You might remember Cracked as well. I was reading these before I got into Garbage Pail Kids. I think most of us were. As far as the parody world, this is where we started. And another thing you need to know before we get in here, a lot of the artists that made Garbage Pail Kids also contributed during those years to Mad Magazine. And their work in Mad is often more considered more important than their Garbage Pail Kid work. Anyway, that's up for debate. So anyway, let's get in here and see what this is. It's going to be two main designs with multiple roughs attached. And I also have one I'll share that I already have in the collection after that. Actually, there's two. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. Now, Mad Magazine illustration, it's not as hard to find as Garbage Pail Kids because you got to understand Mad Magazine has been out, for way, way, way longer. And when you open, just pretend, just consider if you open a Mad Magazine, there's so many illustrations in here. Whereas on a Garbage Pail Kid card, we just have one illustration. And sometimes a back, or not on this case. So when you're talking about, how many illustrations they have with Mad compared to how many is available in Garbage Pail Kids, it's not even hardly comparable. There's way more Mad Magazine pieces of art to collect. By the way, I got this the other day. You might have saw me open it. This is the new Mad Magazine set for release next month, meaning it's already out. And Tom Bunk signed it for me. All right, let's get in here. Wow, straight out of the gate. Look at that. I'm going to get you good views of these. But first, I've got to get this thing opened. There might be an order to it. Well, this looks like the front of the package or whatever. Let's go ahead and just start here. Now, when collecting Mad Magazine art, it's good to have the magazine with it. In case you unfortunately would pass away or I pass away, my people that get my, my archive, won't know what this stuff goes with. And plus you go and you look at some of this art, even though it's amazing to you and I, to a stranger, this looks like some scribble. You'd be surprised how people think about art, just normal everyday people. Anyway, the first thing out of the gate is a Mad Magazine from 2015. I don't think I saw this one, so this is my first time seeing it. I would assume Tom Bunk signed it somewhere. So the first artwork is, I think it comes from this one. We'll see. Okay, here it is. How do we want to do this? This is a big pile. Look at all the art we're going to look at. Let's do this. I'm going to set you down. How's that? There you go. Okay, so the first thing, this is going to be just a pen and ink drawing. I've seen this before with Tom Bunk with his Mad work. I don't know that he did a lot of pencil work. He seems to jump straight into pen. And so they're pretty cool. This does have some water staining on it, I'm noticing. This could be slobber. This could be coffee. Probably not coffee. Anyway, let's take a close look. Try not to reveal the next one. One thing before we leave this, look how this is covering up something. This has been taped. Can you see that? There's pieces of paper taped. There's also a lot of whiteout. Yeah, now you can see it. A lot of illustrators use whiteout, if you didn't know. All right, very cool. Very Tom Bunk, right? We see a couple, or maybe that's two guys, I don't know, going down the street, just kind of barreling, very Daryl Brooks, you know, mowing down people in the street. All right, so that's the first one. Next is just a blank grid. That could be unrelated. Okay, next up is another Tom Bunk color rough. Let me get this out of here. It's a little distracting. So this one's different than what we just saw. In fact, let me put the old one out. These are two different ones. And so it's a completely different design. It's the same concept. It's some people in maybe an Uber, an Uber, going down, just barreling down through a parade or a market. Actually, I see a market or something. It's just some streets, you know, not watching where they're going. Maybe the car is out of control. Amazing stuff. Look at all the work that went into this. Even though it's literally a ink rough or whatever, you're looking at the art of a true master, honestly. Look at the confidence that goes into his work. That's one thing I really appreciate with Tom Bunk. Okay, the next one. Wow, this one has color. Ready? So I was talking about this was it yesterday? How Tom Bunk has these hybrids. They're basically in between pencil roughs, or in this case, ink roughs, and color roughs, where he just kind of starts moving in and starts shading things, probably what he's confident about. You know, when he drew this, he probably didn't know what color he wanted the car. And so he just kind of started with what was easy, like red stop sign. You know, he went ahead and plugged in the red. I'm an artist myself, so I know kind of the process of artists. And so he just kind of went in and he started laying out skin colors. He made them white people or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like he started laying this out before deciding what the car is going to be. The car is the most important thing, so he kind of saves that for later. He didn't want to commit to the car color yet, or his two subjects. Before we get too far, he is making some pretty big changes to the people. So this is the first one. This is the second one. Actually, let's do this. We can see him in one shot. And now he's going, it's much cleaner, right? He's now committing, okay? So this is the process we've seen with Tom, or a lot of these illustrators. They'll have a pencil, then they commit to the color, then they commit to the final, right? Now, I have a final one here. I'll show you. I have a mad final. We'll look at that here in a minute. But this is so cool because you really get to see the entire process that he's going through. And you got to understand, we'll see if we can find this illustration in that Mad magazine. But I doubt it's a big illustration. It's probably kind of small. And just to think that he went through this much work to get to the final product is just wild. So, all right, let's go ahead and look at the next one. Okay, the next thing is this hot mess. I'm trying to shield what's coming because I want it to be a surprise for me too. You know, I'm trying to enjoy this myself. I'm going to have to move some of these. Okay, I'm going to sit you down. Okay, this is a hot mess. I can just tell you, I mean, you can see from the back, things are glued on. Let's hold this thing up in the light. Yeah, things have been glued on, tacked on. Lots of corrections. I don't know exactly where this falls in this order. Look at all this shit. For one design, this is just crazy. It's probably pretty early. This might be the first one. I mean, look how crude this Sharpie is. Yeah, we're probably looking at the first one, honestly. Okay. This is kind of more of the same, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next thing. Okay, next thing. Let's grab this. Okay. Okay, now we have yet another rough of the same scene. Now, I'll tell you something. Look at this. He went ahead and he drew his format, his dimensions, you know, of the canvas or what have you. And so this has to be later And plus, yeah, this one's cleaner. This one's way cleaner. I mean, look how, I mean, it's kind of hard to see things. Things are dark and crazy. This one's much more cleaner and there's more space in between. He took out a lot of the noise. Oh, I love him running. This is a great piece. He also moved up. I noticed he moved this lady up in the picture. Wow. And he also put a sign in front of the car. Man. Okay, let's move this to this pile. Keep going. This is the lot that keeps giving. I think I can just drop this. Yeah, I can drop that. It's just a piece of paper. That's a piece of paper. Ooh, got some color. Okay, first thing though, we have a concept sketch. So this is something that Tom would do on the side. He hasn't moved to his rough stage. He's just doing like a little character sketch before he gets to all this madness. And so here we see, well, this might go to something else because this is obviously not a part of this design, is it? I don't see a photographer here. And I believe this is a photographer. Yeah, he's got his camera, or maybe he's shooting a movie or something. So this must go to something else. Okay, let's just put that over here. Guys, don't worry. I'll do a review here in a minute. We'll spread this out all over the carpet, and I'll show you the view of everything. We got to get to this. Look at that. Wow, I got to get it unfolded, though. Wow. Yeah, a lot to take in the format. Look how big this piece of art is. Massive piece of art. God, I'm telling you, I might actually frame this one day. By the way, the reason a lot of people ask me why I don't frame my art, and that's because I don't run a museum. I run an archive. My things are archived. I'm not showing things in any sort of gallery setting. So there's no reason to frame stuff if you have an archive. Anyway, this is an amazing piece. I am floored. I am absolutely floored. I'm just not used to seeing a visual from this artist this size. This is actually bigger than the cheap toy box art. And it's just so colorful. Yeah, I can't get over this. This is amazing. God, we'll come back to that here in a minute. All right, let's keep going. We'll set you down. That was a piece of construction paper, by the way. Next thing, we have something folded again. This time it's even bigger or something. Holy shit. Oh my God. What the fuck? You seeing this? Holy shit. This looks to be a 24 by 18 piece of paper. Yeah, 24 by 18 for sure. Actually, it might be a 16 by 20. I think it's 24 by 18. Anyway, pen and ink. And then he randomly puts some, I don't have a finger left to point, but he puts that red mark over there, you know, the chart. God, this is so fucking cool. Man, this is something like if my nephew, when he gets, you know, in middle school or something, and he maybe gets into this kind of stuff, I would definitely love to give this to my nephew, put in his room, you know. Wait till he gets to that perfect age of 10, 11, 12. That is so fucking cool. I am floored. I mean, it's just so humbling to have a piece of art this size. It's just amazing. I can't help but notice there's something going on with the... Oh, it's a correction. It's a whiteout correction. Okay, I'm going to have to kind of fold that up. Now I see why it was folded. Now these fell out. Okay, so what these are... I'm going to have to set this phone down. What these are not concept sketches. These are corrected head models to be glued. I'll show you. To be glued in case they wanted to change it for the magazine. This would just get glued on. So don't mistake this for a concept. He's already figured this character out. This is in case the editor of Mad Magazine wants a different head, or even Tom Bunk. You know, he might want a different head. He has an option to just glue this down. Same thing with this. Now, I don't remember seeing this guy. Where is he? Oh, okay. That is the main guy. It just looks weird because it's not colored in. So same thing. So if he wanted to switch it out, yeah, this one's so much better. And I know he didn't go through to finish this, but this one's better from just a design standpoint. But yeah, those are cool to have. I actually have some head models from James Warhol I can show you too. I'll probably forget though. Yeah, let's just stay on Mad today. And then this looks, yeah, this is the last thing. Let's go ahead and get it out. This is probably going to be the color rough. Yeah, this is the color rough. Well, what this is, I'm sorry, this is the mock-up. This is what this is. This is a mock-up with color rough retouch. It's kind of like conceptual color added to it. That's exactly what this is. There are pieces of paper glued on. This thing's a hot mess. Even stuff glued on the back and front. So this is something that came, this is probably the first thing, and we looked at the stuff that came later. Again, we're fixing to spread all this out and look at it. Before we do that, let me show you what I already had for Mad Magazine. Now, I bought this directly from Tom Bunk. What you're looking at is kind of visually confusing, but this, I'll take it out. I'll take it out. This is just a single page of that Mad Magazine. And what I bought this final, and it's Brad Pitt with Angelina. This is back during their divorce. There was something really funny here, by the way. Well, I'll just read it to you. The real reasons why Angelina Jolie is divorcing Brad Pitt. Number one, during sex, he kept screaming out his own name, meaning Brad Pitt is a narcissist. I don't think he is, but maybe he is. If anyone's a narcissist, it's Angelina, right? Number two, he was resistant to her plan to adopt every orphan in the Eastern Hemisphere. 3, he smoked too much weed and drank too much alcohol. And there was also the whole micro penis thing. 4, 2 words, Paul Giamatti. 5, they clashed on how to parent Maddox, Shiloh, Trixie, Peaches, Luigi, Bonkey, Moon Jr., Spanky, and Roddy Piper, the baby. So anyway, so when I bought this from Tom Bunk, he sent his postcard, right? He always does that. Now notice, a lot of people don't know this, he has a Mad postcard. So when you buy his Mad stuff, he gives you a different set of postcards. This is one of those concept sketches I was talking about. Now, since it was done on straight tracing paper, this was an overlay concept. I'm going to wait to slide that back in. Okay. Sorry if this is a lot to look at. We're almost done. There's just a few things. This is the pen rough. Okay. Now, I can tell you this started as a pencil, but everything I've seen from him with Mad has ink overlay on it. And I haven't seen that with his GPK roughs, which is interesting. And here's the final. Now, I'm not a huge fan of these people. The reason I got this back in the day was mainly the price and just, I don't know. But as you can see, these represent Angelina's basically adopted children, or the prospect of all the children she might adopt, how they stay married. Here we see Brad Pitt drinking and drugging it up. Tom Bunk is actually in this as a self-portrait. He's right here. Yeah, that's another reason I bought it, actually. No, I remember. Yeah, it's so cool to have his self-portrait in there. And then outside are all the children trying to get in to be adopted. So it's a great piece. And I think I love his, look at his autograph. I mean, his signature or whatever. So cool. Yeah, I think it's just really cool how it's very related to Garbage Pail Kids. You can definitely see it's the same guy. But, and there was something else. Yeah, so this is also by Tom Bunk, but it's not Garbage Pail Kids. This is mad related. It's actually for a pinup calendar series they were going to do. So basically, they were going to draw 12 ladies as pinups, but since it's, Tom Bunk, they're going to be nasty, right? So this was supposed to be a girl swinging in the nude. And since it's been Tom Bunked, now she's in a tire swing, and she looks like this. And yeah, Swinging Susie. Not sure what month she was for. Maybe I should ask. Here's the ink color rough hybrid, right, that we see from him over and over. Pinup Gallery. Bunk's Pinup Gallery. And this one we have a little dog swinging something I can't read. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay these out over the carpet. Just give me 1 second to get them all spread out. While I'm doing this, talk amongst yourselves. Oh, one thing I keep forgetting to say, I found this in the garbage, actually. I was walking by a church, actually, and this was kind of sticking out of the recycle bin. So I had to have it. I did look this up on eBay. This is a postal scale. I looked it up on eBay, and these things, there's like 4 available, and they're like $15 to $30. So they're not valuable. But it's from over 20 years ago, and so I had to have it, and it still works perfectly. I keep having this out to tell everyone. It's just cool to have. All right, let me go ahead and spread this out. Oh, we didn't find the art. Let's do that real quick. Look. I'll back this up so we can see. So I'm just looking for the illustrations we just saw where I like Christina's World. Let's go. Yeah, I started reading this last night. It's a great, they still have it, dude. Don't. Spy versus Spy. Sorry, I'm just trying to find that illustration. Damn, man. It'll be on the last page. It's always the last place you look, right? Now, by the way, just so you know, this is not all by Tom Bunk, obviously. This obviously is not his style. So with Mad Magazine, there's a bunch of different illustrators that are contributing to it. It's a real honor to be used. Bro, what the hell? Oh, it was literally the second to last page, of course. So here it is. Here's how it turned up. Yeah, so now just based on the illustration, now it's pretty obvious that this was the last one, because this is the one they added the sign. There's probably, some better, there's color rough. There's a color rough somewhere. But yeah, that's how it turned out. Man, he got a full page. That's an honor too, if you didn't know, to have your art chosen to be a full page in a Mad magazine is a really big deal. Also, I forgot to mention, this is a Tom Bunk cover. He got the honor of to have his art. This is his work on the cover, so that's a big deal too. And there's people out there, these crazy mad collectors who, collect cover art and all this shit. So I can't imagine what they're paying for that stuff. Okay, again, let me set you down. I'll get all this organized across the carpet, and I'll give you one final money shot. How about that? Give me 1 second. The money shot. Yeah, this was crazy, man. I couldn't pass it up, right? Yeah, I got all this for $200. Oh God. All right, here I'm just showing you what I'm doing here. All right, that works, right? All right, guys. So just what came in, it was two basically illustrations. It was two illustrations, and all the production work that went into the illustration. The main one though was this car that's barreling down the road. Look at all this. 5 pieces of 5 roughs. And then this turned out to be an oddball, unrelated concept sketch that does not go with anything here. I don't know where that goes to. Okay, and then down here is probably for sure the best ones. Let me put these heads right here. So we had this amazing color rough that's just this big fucking size. Here we had the initial, there's probably 15 pieces of paper glued on this. This is a hot mess. And then this amazing, y'all want to see my feet? Amazing big scale drawing. I'm not sure why this is so big. And I'm also not sure why his mad art is bigger than his Garbage Pail Kid art in size. So there's questions. But guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Wow. Great score. I still have to, if I can fucking get over there. I got the color bombs in. So we'll open that another day. There's the Novos. Yeah, I'm going to get those out to photograph them. There's that 10 set. All right, that's all I got for you. See you guys in the next one. Russ Fan, out. That's the best one.